everybody! I just played Juicy Fruits and I can't wait to tell you the 3 things I like about it. But just to give you a brief overview, this is a game for 1 to 4 players and takes about 20 to 50 minutes to play, depending on how many players you have. And in this game, players are owners of a small island and they produce fruits. Now they want to sell their fruits to businesses that show up on their shores, which is the individual player board, but they also want to invest in new businesses that are available to all the players. So that means that you're vying for these specialized, unique businesses that everybody essentially wants because they're pretty stinking cool. So once a player has triggered the end of the game by moving this marker all the way down to the X, which, if you have 2 players, means that you're going to be moving it 7 times. 3 players, you'll move it 11 times, and 4 players, you'll move it 14 times. And once a player has done that, because they are activating these special businesses, that's going to trigger the end of the game, and of course, whoever has the most victory points wins the game. So, the first thing I like about Juicy Fruits is the individual player board. Everyone will draw randomly from 2 different bags that populate the ships that come to shore asking for a very specific number and type of fruits. Now the victory points are in the little sun symbol, and you put these around the shore, which essentially block the movement on your board. These squares are collection tokens and they depict a particular fruit. You start with the apple, orange, banana, grape, and lime in that configuration, but those are going to be randomly determined for every player board. So my lime might not be in the same space as another player's lime, and so forth. And then these outside shipping areas that have requirements also block the space on your board, but ask for a certain number and type of fruit. Now what everyone does on their turn is move a collection token. Now this works by moving your token in a straight line as far as you like until you hit something, or if you'd like to stop before hitting a token, essentially moving it any distance that is clear in a straight line. I like that. I love the puzzle feature of this because as your board begins to open up, the more you move your pieces around, you start to see turns and turns ahead, and you're planning while it's everybody else's turn, and you're really trying to puzzle out how much fruit can I get, when do I need to get the fruit, and how will it leave me open to either place a really large building or to collect a large amount of fruit. So when you move your collection token, as far as you move it is how many pieces of fruit you get. So in the beginning, everyone can only move 1 fruit of their choice, 1 space. That means I get 1 grape. I take it and I put it in my player area. Most likely, I'm not going to get to do anything else on my first turn because I haven't collected enough resources. Now, after the moving of your collection token, players can then start investing in shipping off their fruits to these sellers that come to the edge of their island, or investing in businesses in the central playing area. This is the thing that I like. I like this feature of the puzzle. So now that I move my grape, on my next turn, I can now move my lime 2 spaces, and now I collect 2 limes. And you see how this is going to begin opening up spaces. And as you pay off your sellers on the side of the island, let's say I do another move. I want to get 2 oranges. This is my 3rd turn. I move that and I get 2 oranges. Well, guess what? I've got a grape, 2 limes, and 2 oranges. I have the possibility of buying this boat down here for 1 lime and 1 orange. I get 1 victory point and I take it off my player board, thus opening up another space for me to move my collection tokens around. So you're slowly opening up the island, you're shipping off all your fruit, and it makes for bigger space for you to play with. And I think that's great. So I could buy this one, or I could buy this orange and grape and sell it off for 1 victory point, which means that next turn I can move my apple 1, 2, 3 spaces and then take 3 apples. I just think this is really cool. I love this, and every player's doing it on their own, and they're essentially thinking on their turn. There's very little downtime because by the time it comes back to you, you've thought about it. You know what you want to do, you move your thing, you do your stuff, you buy a building, and then it's the next player's turn. So I think the puzzling feature of this game with everyone's player individual board is really cool. It's so simple and it's so smart. It reminds me of the games that I would kind of get on my phone with an app where you kind of just move the blocks around and you want to get the one block out the exit. And so how few turns does it take you to puzzle out moving these particular features to roll the block out, or in some cases roll the ball out. And I am really addicted to that. It's very abstract, but for me that's just something that really works for my kind of analytical brain. So super, super cool feature, and everybody's in charge of their own board, and I love that. The second thing I like about Juicy Fruits is that there are two different places to gain businesses and opportunities for victory points. That is your individual playing board. You have these businesses, these ships that are just yours. You know where they are. They are placed in the very beginning of the game. You can plan for it. You know exactly what the requirements are for the fruits they need and the amount of victory points they're going to give you. So everyone has these, but there are also these collective ones, and these do not get replaced. Well, neither do these either. But there's no chance of getting something if someone takes it. This is the only tile that lets you earn 4 victory points for every tile that has a fork and spoon on it. Essentially, it's a restaurant kind of thing where you get this bonus token that allows you to get one or the other plus one more fruit of that particular type. And so you're really vying for these, but they cost the amount that's in this column on the side. So the businesses from this particular area, number 1, cost a banana and a lime, and when you buy it, you automatically get a victory point and the tile that is shown. And you continue to go down this row, and you'll see that as you get down to further and further rows, they cost more and more, but they give you more victory points. And these are just randomly placed. So the value of these being more expensive for more victory points is not necessarily equal to the value of the tile that you're getting in the space. It just is that much to purchase. Now, when you buy these, you will either place them in your space or replace them with one of the bigger things that it says to. So some of these say, this one says, you exchange this little tile for the one that says 6, and it's 6 victory points, and you put it in your area, and it essentially blocks any movement through, around, by. You can't get past this space anymore. You've essentially placed an entire business there. So you have to be really careful about clearing out the space on the side so that you can place some of these bigger businesses for big victory points, because they start to clog up your puzzle machine. So the thing I appreciate the most about this kind of variety, individual and collective, is that you really want to clear your area here, but you don't want to just focus on this, because people are going to start grabbing these up and you're not going to get any of them. So you have to balance, well, when do I get the ones from the center? How can I place them? How can I continue clearing out my island here by shipping off my fruits to other vendors that only I can sell to? And that balance is just so awesome. I love the strategy and the timing necessary to really maximize and get the best victory points for the fruits that you're collecting when you do the beginning of your turn, which is moving one of your collection tiles around, trying to get as many fruits as you can, particularly the ones you need. That is just the coolest. I love it. I like that I'm not just only fighting for what everyone else is fighting for, because sometimes there's just a real lack. There's a real disparity on who gets what. But I have my own. Nobody can touch these. They have their own, and they have their own, right? So we have our own, but we also have some that we share together and that we're both vying for. Great, great balance. And lastly, the third thing I like about Juicy Fruits is the Juicy Fruits. If that is the name of your game, you better have some fantastic fruits. These are the juiciest, chunkiest, most colorful fruits I've ever seen, and I love that these tokens are enormous. I love that they're colorful and they're super easy to handle. They're just the neatest, and I think that goes into the entire graphic design, the color, just the layout of everything. It's really easy to see, keep track of, and recognize the symbols that they use to help players do what they need to do. Everything is just obvious, and it actually looks really nice. I feel like I'm on this cute little island, and I'm selling all my little baskets of fruit, and it's just adorable. And honestly, it doesn't take up that much space, despite being so delightfully colorful and chunky. And I'm gonna do it. I know it's gonna be super noisy, but it's kind of, it's like what the Juicy Fruits want you to do. Oh my gosh, look at these. They're they're wooden, they're not too heavy, they're nice and, I don't know, they're great. And oh my gosh, you just wanna dig into them. So I think that the design and the look of this game is just spot on, and I'm going to give you a 3.5 things I actually like about this game, which is a little bit of a cheat, but I cannot neglect, I can't leave out the fact that this has built into the game a solo mode, and it also has an expansion, which is the Juice Factory. So you can play the base game, and you can play it with 2, 3, or 4 players, but you can also play with just 1 player, and you can incorporate another feature to the game, which is the Juice Factory. And I think in just a base game, getting all of that, plus just the base game itself, is kind of fantastic. I'm really impressed, and I'm really pleased with it. I think the variety of placing out these tokens every single time is enough to kind of change things up and to make people go for different tiles every time you play, because of the variety of like what you have to pay for it, and the variety of choice as well, because you don't actually use all of the tiles. There are actually tiles that are left out, and because of that, you're not going to have all of the you know, biggies that kind of go down, your businesses that go down into your player board. And the shipping tiles are in a different place, and they are different every single time, so you're not going to have the same configuration. So this game is replayable, and it's also just charming. So that third thing is a big thing, but I really, really like it. The chunky, just satisfying feel and look of the resources. Again, these are the Juicy Fruits. Name? Gotta have the Juicy Fruits, and the Juicy Fruits do not disappoint. I will say that you've got to keep your eye on your opponents. Make sure you know what kinds of fruits they have, what they might possibly be investing in if it's in the collective area, and also keep track of what the potential is for them to earn victory points, because every single time I've played, the track doesn't necessarily tell you exactly who's ahead and who is going to win the game, because players can earn a really large amount of victory points by selling a lot of the ice creams and the sundaes by moving that particular token that matches the color for the green, yellow, blue. And so you really have to watch what they're doing and plan out essentially the last rounds. Once someone has triggered the end of the game, you really, really be careful about not setting yourself up to make one more big move that you never get to make, because you're not going to earn those points, and essentially the game is over. No matter how much fruit you have, no matter how much potential you have to earn victory points. So keep an eye on your opponents and enjoy a game of Juicy Fruits. It is a delightful, nice, light strategy game that gets my brain thinking the whole time. And I love a game that makes me feel like I am constantly working. Okay, how can I maximize this? How can I invest in that? How can I use my leftover fruits? How can I create my own personal board, which I love having a personal board so much. All right, thanks for tuning in, and I hope you get a chance to try Juicy Fruit sometime soon. Let me know what you think about that solo mode and about the Juice Factory expansion. I'll see you next time.